Boy at the festival. The Sapporo Snow Festival sees visitors from all over Japan, and even the world, visit each year. However, there is one visitor in particular that has become a legend, and that is a young boy who is seen only on the opening day of the festival. People first noticed this boy after watching the live feed on TV for several years in a row. Viewers saw the same boy, in the same clothes, who remained the same age year after year. But what made it even stranger was that only some people seemed to see him. Others didn't notice him at all. As such, not everyone believed the rumors. The legend reached its height in 2013, but then died down after that. However, it came back to life in 2015, when people saw the boy once again, but this time, his clothes were different and his hair a little longer. But what really had people talking was footage of the boy seemingly walking right through people as he approached the camera. Then, as he reached the front of the screen, he seemed to slip right through it. Kyushu's Daidarabocchi. The oldest members of Japan's legendary giants are the Kunitsukami. Their bodies were said to be as large as mountains. They were the creatures who built Japan, and then they handed the land down to the Amatsukami. Yet, one of these Kunitsukami was believed to be the creature that's now known as Daidarabocchi. Daidarabocchi was the size of a continent, and also the one said to have created Mount Fuji. He was so big that when he travelled the land, he left massive footsteps that then turned into lakes. Lake Biwa, for example, is said to have come about from one of Daidarabocchi's footsteps that then collected rainwater. When Daidarabocchi felt that his time was coming to an end, he decided it was time to rest and chose a spot next to Japan to go to sleep. He bent over with his legs folded just beneath the main island of Honshu, and it was there that he passed away. Soil eventually coated his body, and this was how the island of Kyushu came to be. It's true that when you look at Kyushu, it looks like a giant bent over, but this legend has been around since ancient times, when it was impossible for people to have known what shape the island looked like. So, how could they have known? To this day, this question still confuses folklorists. Proclamation of death. Only doctors may proclaim somebody to be dead. That's how the saying goes, and in reality, it's the truth. Not the police, not the ambulance workers. Only doctors may make such a decision. For example, take note of this following case. One day, a police officer arrived at the scene of a motorbike accident. The driver is dead, he informed his colleagues over the wireless, but he got a surprising response in return. Wait, there shouldn't be any doctors on the scene yet. How can you be sure that the driver is dead? Well, it was fairly obvious. The driver's head had been removed from his body. There was no way he was still alive. And yet, until a doctor arrived on the scene and officially declared him dead, the man was still technically considered alive. Cursed video series. One of the most popular horror video series is the Noroi no Video, Cursed Video series. This series takes people's submissions of cursed videos and puts them together in an anthology format that horror enthusiasts love to this day. But it's also said that watching these cursed videos can actually have a negative effect on you as well. There are claims that numerous viewers have gone missing after watching the videos, been involved in terrible accidents, or sometimes even died. And if you aren't physically affected, there's a good chance you might still be mentally affected as well. One of my friends claimed that after watching one of the videos, he started seeing things that shouldn't exist, and this isn't an uncommon story. Something strange even happened to me. The first video in volume 28 of the series features a couple visiting a Japanese inn. The video ends with the person filming suddenly running away in horror when they see a woman's face suddenly appear, and that's that. And yet, the next time I watched that video, both nervous and excited for that same moment, there was nothing. No woman's face at all. Where on earth did she go? Dangling bags. This happened around the 44th year of Showa, 1969. There's a certain legend passed down in the sacred mountain area of Aomori Prefecture called the Dangling Bags, and it goes a little something like this. Deep in the dimly lit mountains, you can find numerous tea cloth bags hanging from trees. These bags are full of something like tea leaves, and the smell coming from them is very nice as well. For a long time, people have called these simply dangling bags. My grandmother passed away 3 years ago, and she said that the dangling bags were a taboo subject in her village. Nobody ever wanted to speak about what they actually meant, and they were always kept out of sight as well. Of course, I was intrigued by these mysterious bags, so last year I went to see them for myself. And let me tell you why it's such a taboo topic for the villagers. You see, these dangling bags, they contain the heads of villagers who have been ostracized. They're then hung in a secluded place on the sacred mountain, and there they are offered to it. The tea leaves are actually human remains that have started to decompose. The smell they give off is the bacteria growing on said remains. Reportedly, the self-defense forces who train in the area still see these dangling bags. If they're spotted, the commander informs the soldiers not to touch them and refuses to elaborate. If you're intrigued by these bags and want to see if they really exist, why don't you head out to Aomori and see for yourself? Fake ghost photos. Although they used to be all the rage, these days you don't see as many television programs doing specials on ghost photos as you used to. And there's a good reason for that. Back in the day, ghost photo specials were highly prized by television channels because of the high viewership they brought in. These specials used photos that were very clearly fake, and anyone with eyes could tell so. However, there was a good reason for this. It wasn't done to fool viewers, but rather, it was done to help the staff working on these shows. How so? It's well known that if you spend too much time interacting with the other side, then misery and misfortune will befall you. Too many staff members were coming down with illnesses or being involved in horrific accidents that something had to be done about it. Their answer was mixing in fake photos with the real ones. This, in combination with purification ceremonies, greatly reduced the misfortune befalling staff members, but the rising number of fake photos meant to protect the staff also meant that audiences gradually lost interest in these programs, as they realized that most of what they saw was no longer real. Mysterious lumps of meat. During the 1990s, mysterious carcasses that looked like large lumps of meat washed up on shore all over Japan. These lumps of meat were damaged and decomposed beyond recognition, so nobody was quite sure what they were. Some were over 20 meters long, and they weighed around 3 tons as well. Local fishermen who saw these mysterious lumps of meat claimed they had never seen anything like it, but they were unable to investigate it themselves as government officials came to collect the carcasses. They were apparently taken to a lab set up beneath the Prime Minister's official residence, where they there underwent testing. There have been many rumours about what these lumps could have been. Aliens? Animals from the future? Nobody knows, but the official explanation given was that they were the carcasses of basking sharks. Considering that basking sharks only reach 8 meters in length, and not 20, there are many who refuse to believe this explanation, however, and many find it suspicious the government would collect the lumps so quickly.